Hi. Just before the video starts, I just want to say thank you all so much for the support on my first YouTube video. I've always wanted to do something like this just to draw and talk about drawing with people, and I'm just glad to get to share my passions with other people. Thank you to everyone who liked and commented on my first video, or just even took time out of their day to sit down and watch the whole thing. This won't be too long. Again, I'm just here to say thank you so much. Please enjoy the video. Happy spooky season! I hope you are all partaking in your favorite Halloween traditions, whether it be carving pumpkins, or throwing parties, or maybe even eating some pumpkin-shaped Reese's. I'd argue there is always one thing to love about Halloween. One thing that I know a good majority of you will know when it comes to Halloween are the General Mills cereal monsters that are released every year around fall. Count Chocula, Franken Berry, and Boooo Berry. At least some of you would know these three. And for those of you that don't know, there are actually 6 monsters that are a part of the whole Cereal Monsters series, with the other 3 being Fruit Brood, Yummy Mummy, and Carmella Creeper. Though we only get the main 3 this year. Despite all that, I think every monster deserves some attention. And by attention, I mean I decided to make the cereal monsters into monster girls. I think these character designs have a lot of potential, and it also gives me an excuse to talk about Halloween cereal history in between talking about the design processes. I did toss around whether to make them into humans or monsters, but I ultimately went with monsters. They were created to be monster mascots in the first place. And one last thing, sorry to any Carmella Creeper fans, but she will not be included here, cause, well, she's already a monster girl. With all that said, let's draw some monster girls. Now, I had to start off with Count Alfred Chocula, which is his full name, come to find out. Count Chocula released alongside Franken Berry in March of 1971, because apparently people were still crazy for classic Universal monsters. His design was created by George Carn, who also came up with the concept of the Trix rabbit mascot. He is arguably the golden child, quote-unquote, of the General Mills cereal monster line. Which is understandable because, I mean, who doesn't love their milk turning into chocolate cereal milk? In a lot of commercial season, he's most notable for constantly arguing with Franken Berry about whose cereal is the best. Maybe trying to be funny, maybe General Mills pushing a Por qué no los dos towards their first cereal monsters to their consumer market. All of the cereal monsters were available year-round until they became seasonal for Halloween starting in 2009. Now for my design for Monster Girl Count Chocula. For each of the designs, I tried a mix of their original designs and the monsters they were based on. I also tried to incorporate their cereal flavors into each of their designs, which is why her bat purse has some chocolatey flair to it. I went with a more gothic Lolita look for Chocula, with a long-sleeved dress, ruffled neckline, and heeled Mary Janes. I also had to include the Count's prominent flared-out collar by making it into a sort of mini-cloak that's brought together with a bow. Her hair was a bit of a challenge, though. I initially thought to go with pigtails, but I wasn't feeling it for her overall look. So I decided on space buns with a slight widow's peak. I decided to include a swirl pattern in them to kind of make them look like chocolate truffles. And here's the finished Count of Chocolate. I'd imagine she'd be voiced by Tabitha St. Germain with a Transylvanian accent. Next up is the one after Count Chocula, which is Franken Berry. The first artificially strawberry-flavored cereal, at least according to the research I've done. In many early commercials, he and Chocula were pretty much scared of anything, even fellow cereal monsters. Which, in my opinion, becomes repetitive very quickly, in addition to their constant back-and-forth cereal flavor preferences. Though I guess I'm alone here because apparently those commercials helped jumpstart the popularity of these cereal monsters. It has also become my personal headcanon that all the cereal monsters are the best of friends who support each other and their cereal flavors. I've never tried Franken Berry myself, so comment down below if you have and let me know if it's better than Count Chocula. Let me know if artificial strawberry beach chocolate. That's probably also artificial. All jokes aside, I know these characters mean a lot to lots of people, including me. For the design, one thing I'll say off the bat is that I love the color palette. I love every shade of pink. Various illustrations of Franken Berry have him larger in size than the other cereal monsters, so I made her plus-sized. I didn't know how to incorporate the chain suspenders, so I put her in an overalls dress with the chain becoming jewelry. Speaking of jewelry, I made the neck bolts into big hoop earrings and the goggles into horn-rimmed glasses. I pictured her as kind of quirky. I mean, when you have a pressure gauge and a steam horn coming out of your head, it kind of speaks for itself there. I did make those into accessories for her headband. I added some stitching here and there, and sewed some patches on her overalls. One of the patches has a strawberry pattern on it for her strawberry-flavored cereal. I couldn't give her the strawberry nails exactly, but I did paint her nails pink as a callback to the original Franken Berry design. And here's Frankie! She definitely ends her sentences with either dear or love. On to Boooo Berry! I'd say the first of the cereal monsters to not be associated with any of the old horror movie monsters. Speaking of firsts, Boooo Berry was also the first blueberry-flavored cereal, released a year after Count Chocula and Franken Berry in December of 1972. In a few early commercials, Count Chocula and Franken Berry were afraid of Boooo Berry, but they would sometimes team up to get rid of him. Which is pretty funny when you see some of the promotional material and notice how short Boooo Berry is compared to the other cereal monsters. It was actually not too long ago that a lost 1 minute long Boooo Berry commercial was rediscovered, which apparently revealed that he was neighbors with Count Chocula and Franken Berry.
Hello, my name is Boo. Gentlemen, let me finish. Boooo Berry, your new neighbor.
He seemed to be more relaxed about his cereal, at least more so than the other two cereal monsters at the time. You could say he was even a bit of a prankster with how he constantly scares Chocula and Franken Berry. Maybe he would be in better standing with Chocula and Franken Berry if he put, the cereal before the milk. Now for the design, Boooo Berry's original design is a ghost with a bow tie and what I like to interpret as one of those straw boater hats. It turned purple in later iterations, but I decided to stick with yellow. Nothing against the purple, but it looks a little too close in color value to Boooo Berry's blue colors. Now, I wanted to have the silhouette somewhat be ghostly shaped with the sort of roundish top and long draping sides. And that led me to this turtleneck dress combo with the red bow and red accents. I gave her a bob cut with kind of roundish bangs to go with the round silhouette. I translated Boooo Berry's droopy eyes to relaxed eyes with shiny blue eyeshadow. It was hard to come up with an outfit design for a blue blob ghost with a hat and a bow tie, but I tried to make it work with what I had. When designing Monster Girl Boooo Berry, I kind of went towards a sailor/boater kind of look with the color scheme and the hat. I gave her shoes I think people who own boats would wear. Any boat owners, let me know if you own a pair like these. And the matching socks too. For the blueberries, I just gave her blueberry earrings and blueberry accessories on her hatband. Here's Ghost Girl Boooo Berry. My headcanon is that she died in a boating accident. Or was it really an accident? Now we have Fruit Brute. He came to store shelves and TV screens in 1974. No exact month that I could find, however. He is the first of the outliers here. By which I mean Fruit Brute is one of the few other cereal mascots to not be consistently released every Halloween season. It may have had something to do with its generic fruit-flavored cereal with lime-flavored marshmallows, and then it later becoming cherry-flavored cereal, It doesn't really sound that good. Sounds like cough syrup cereal, at least in the opinion of someone who has never had Fruit Brute either. Though it may have been popular with Quentin Tarantino, of all people. I mean, the fruity cereal cameoed in Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. Do you see them? I should say artificially fruity, since Fruit Brute had a name change from fruit, like F-R-U-I-T, to fruit, as in F-R-U-T-E. Possibly to avoid controversy with how much actual fruit there was in the cereal. Similar to Boooo Berry, Fruit Brute also frightened Count Chocula and Franken Berry in many of the commercials that he appeared in. What probably helped was the FRUIT howl he would admit in many of his appearances. For Monster Girl Fruit Brute, this is honestly one of my favorite designs that I came up with. I love the expression I gave her, especially with the shape of the eyes and that one toothy fang. I wanted to lean a little into the Wolfman look the original cereal wanted to convey. I was thinking plaid shirt right off the bat, and I made the pattern the same colors as the overalls that the original Fruit Brute wore. I wanted to keep the overalls in some capacity, I just made them ripped and short. I wanted to make them shorts to show off the leg hair. It's the same reason I decided to roll up her sleeves. I gave her a sort of choppy, almost wolf-cut hairstyle to match Fruit Brute's crazy hair. I thought about giving her werewolf claws, but I didn't think it looked good. So to make up, I gave her nail polish. I did want to lean in with the cherry theme from Fruit Brute instead of the general fruit flavor its early iterations had. So I gave her little cherry pom-pom accessories on her boots. Here's Fruit Brute. She'll try to loudly and expressively convince you to take your cherry-flavored medicine. Also, we're going to ignore the fact that there was no tail. And finally, we have Yummy Mummy, released in 1988. This one is one I feel the least amount of people will know about. Even after the non-popularity of Fruit Brute, General Mills apparently had it in them to release one more cereal monster based on, well, the Mummy. Similar to Fruit Brute, Yummy Mummy was a general fruit-flavored cereal, but with vanilla-flavored marshmallows instead of lime. Despite sounding more appealing than lime-flavored marshmallows, Yummy Mummy had just as short of a store shelf life as Fruit Brute. One thing I failed to mention during Fruit Brute's section was that the cereal did resurface every so often, but he wouldn't be a constant part of the lineup. The same thing happened with Yummy Mummy, though in the re-release, which was in 2013, the cereal was orange cream flavored instead of the general fruit flavor. I don't know about y'all, but with a flavor like orange cream, the fact that Yummy Mummy had been off store shelves for over a decade at this point should be a crime. I mean, he was even part of the lineup with Chocula and Franken Berry for a while. That all being said, the Monster Girl design was a huge undertaking. I mean, there's only so much you can get from a character design that consists of an undead guy wrapped in colorful bandages. I ultimately decided to get inspiration from ancient Egyptian fashion and hairstyles. A few examples I saw were these shawl-like clothing pieces, so I added something similar to the design. I also saw an abundance of jewelry, so I added some of that as well. Bracelets, bangles, and a gold neck piece encrusted with jewels on top of the shawl. And can't forget the gold sandals. The shawl was one thing, but I was still stuck with the bandages. So I just decided to go with a sort of jumpsuit with leggings and a crop top. The bandages morphed into a striped pattern that I tried my best to make look kind of stylish. The hair was the hardest for me to do though. This hairstyle is one I haven't drawn often, and I thought this art challenge could help me with that, at least for a little bit. I know I have a long way to go, but I'm proud of the fact that I went out of my comfort zone for this character design. For the fruit-flavored edition, in which I decided on utilizing the cereal's orange cream flavor, because yes, I made it into earrings that are shaped like orange slices. Here's Yummy Mummy. She's a little old-fashioned, but she's down to do anything. And that's all the girlies. Just imagine Carmela Creeper tucked away in there somewhere. I'll end with a little bit of extra cereal monster trivia, because I didn't know where else to put this. Before Carmela Creeper, General Mills had tossed around an idea of a new cereal monster after Yummy Mummy. Ideas circulated of a mixed berry flavored cereal mascot themed around Phantom of the Opera, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Bride of Franken Berry, and another mummy. However, this concept would never come to fruition, no pun intended. Let me know which design is your favorite. Mine's still Fruit Brute. And let me know what kind of Halloween traditions y'all do. If you still celebrate Halloween, that is. What's your favorite cereal flavor? Is Count Chocula the reigning champion every year? And be honest here, does this look more like a ghost or a skull? Because I can definitely see both. Well, till next time, bye!